Hey, it's Rick. Today I'd like to tell you a little bit about a location that at one time was the state capital of Tennessee. Tennessee joined the Union as the 16th state in 1796. Rutherford County in Tennessee at that time did not have a county seat. In 1811, a 60-acre area of land was set aside and designated for the settlement there to become the county seat for Rutherford County. That was in 1811. Now, as you can see here, Murfreesboro is located right in the heart of Tennessee. I've underlined it for you here. Since Murfreesboro is located in Middle Tennessee, which is a high plateau area, and Murfreesboro sits there, there is a marker in Murfreesboro with the designated spot of the exact geographic center of Tennessee. Because of the location of Murfreesboro, Tennessee decided to set its capital in Murfreesboro. That was 1818. This only lasted till 1826, and the reason for that is because up the road a little piece is a city that is growing. It is already renowned for what it offers, Nashville. So in 1826, the state moved the state capital to Nashville. Murfreesboro sits 34 miles southeast of Nashville and is the home to Middle Tennessee State University. Last year's enrollment was 23,000 students. Murfreesboro has an area of 62 square miles, and it also is the sixth largest city in the state of Tennessee. In 1858, Murfreesboro built their courthouse right downtown in Murfreesboro, center of town. Now, in Murfreesboro, there is a little plateau all its own. That is where the public square is located. And right on the highest point of that little plateau is the courthouse, just like the crowning jewel in Murfreesboro. Now, the public square in 1861 became the home of the Union Army. They set up their encampment across the little dirt street in front of the courthouse there, and they sat there entrenched the entirety of the war, with the exception of one little bitty window of time in there. They were there the rest of the time. Right down the road from the courthouse, just not very far, was where December 31st, 1862, the Battle of Stones River took place. December 31st through January the 2nd. 3 short days. During that 3-day battle, 23,515 soldiers lost their lives. That was the highest casualty count of any battle in the Civil War. 23,515. That battle also, the Union Army was victorious, and that had a major turn for the Union Army as far as the outcome of the war. Now, there is a cemetery right next to the battlefield where 6,000 Union soldiers are buried. Stones River Battlefield is one of the historic sites in Murfreesboro and a nice place to visit. It's very inspirational. Let's come on forward now to 1868. And Murfreesboro is trying to recover from the Civil War. But in 1868, the entire west side of the public square is destroyed by a major fire, completely destroyed. And Murfreesboro, once again, is still building, and that is just another part of their project they have to recover from. So now let's move on into, now at this time, I want to point out though that Murfreesboro is an agricultural community. Farming and grain is the majority of the commerce at that time. So let's come on up from 1868 until 1913 into the 20th century. In 1913, a major devastating tornado came right down through the center of Murfreesboro, right down through the heart of town, and damaged or demolished the majority of the main buildings in downtown Murfreesboro. Here again, Murfreesboro undertakes another recovery project and rebuilds and moves on. So let's come on up to World War II era. Post-World War II, commerce began to change in Murfreesboro, ushered in this change from agriculture to industry and manufacturing. And that's the way it has remained since that time. Now let's come on forward to the 21st century and let's have a look at 2020. Let's take a look at some of the numbers here. Tennessee, I've already told you, is the 6th largest city in the state. Murfreesboro is the 6th largest city in the state of Tennessee. And the population currently in Murfreesboro is 151,066. That number has grown over last year's count by 4,861 people. That is a 3.32% growth. The population density is 2,441 people per square mile. It gives you a little bit of idea of the density of Murfreesboro. Now, the demographics are 72% white, 19% black, and the other 9% is a combination of Asian, Hispanic, Native American, and other races. Population is made up 52% female and 48% male. 72% of the workforce is employed. The average median age in Murfreesboro is 30.4 years. The average family size is 3.13 individuals. The average income is $78,000. And the average price of a home, the average value of a home, is $266,253. And the average rent is $1,582. So that gives you a little bit of the idea of what's happening in Murfreesboro. The overall poverty rate is 15%. When it comes to media, Murfreesboro has 5 newspapers. They have 4 radio stations and 3 TV networks. So they're doing pretty good. They're holding their own. Public transit, Murfreesboro has 9 16-passenger buses, which make it easy to maneuver around in Murfreesboro in the congestion. So Murfreesboro is easily laid out and it's easy to get your way around, but you have to allow yourself a little extra time because it is so busy. Now, some of the things to see and do besides the courthouse and the public square and the Stones River battlefield and the ruins left over from the war and the cemetery there are the Oakland's Historical Mansion, which is a natural historical site in Murfreesboro. There is the Discovery Center, which is an interactive museum in Murfreesboro, which is very popular with children. There is a natural history museum in Murfreesboro, and the children love it because there is a life-size skeleton of a Tyrannosaurus Rex in there, which is impressive, to say the least. But there is also Canonsburg Village, which is a recreation of the original Canonsboro Village that became Murfreesboro. And the Canonsburg Village hosts Uncle Dave Macon Days every summer. This is a music festival, which is basically folk music, period authentic music. Is bluegrass and country and gospel. It's a lot of fun, and the food is really good too. Also, Murfreesboro hosts the International Folk Fest downtown on the public square. And this is a big deal as well. There's stages everywhere. They have concerts and bands and individual musicians, and it's a good going on, and a lot of food, good food. So Murfreesboro has a lot going for it. It's active, it's prosperous, it's productive, and it's attracting a lot of attention, and people enjoy their homes here. They're comfortable. They're coming from all over to live here. And that, my friend, is a good thing.